Morning, everybody. Hey, have you ever heard the phrase, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough to win? I heard this some time back ago, and I thought about that, I thought about that, I thought about that. And what does that really mean? You know, it is sort of like a game, right? It, it's serious. Driving truck is serious, but there's a lot of gamemanship within the trucking industry. You have point systems for safety, for example. You have points on your license, just like points in a video game, things like that, and there's all kinds of rules and regulations that you have to follow, or DOT is going to come down hard on you, things like that. I think what this means, this phrase, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough, I think that kind of refers to the e-logs. Electronic logs tracks everything down to the last second, as we all know. However, there are ways and techniques that you can kind of manipulate it. Now, is it cheating or being smart? If you talk to drivers in the past, decades ago, they used paper logs, and they had more than one logbook. They had one for show for the DOT officer, and one they turned into the company to get paid. One for show and one for dough. They were cheating on a daily basis. And it's not that I would encourage anyone to aspire to become a cheater, but, the rules are very restrictive. And yet you got to run a business and be profitable. And these trucks are extraordinarily expensive. And maintenance and repairs are extraordinarily expensive as well. Fuel cost doesn't help. The cost of living is up. We haven't gotten a raise in years. So I wouldn't necessarily fault someone for thinking this way, although it's not necessarily something that I would live by. I would try to live by with the rules. Whatever the rules are, I would try to live by the rules, regardless of the outcome. I think I would just sleep better at night. But that's me. But I know there's ways you can manipulate the logs, for example. So it's electronic, so you would think it would be, foolproof, that you couldn't manipulate the logs, but you could still manipulate the logs. And I'll tell you how. All right, you do on a pre-trip every day, at least 10 minutes. And I do a post-trip, which is another 5 minutes. So there's 15 minutes a day, times 7 days a week. You can do the math. That's over an hour you're losing of productivity. And then you could also throw in there the time you spent fueling, which is on duty time that's not being time driving. Okay. Now, you are allowed to use personal conveyance if you can't find a place to park. Now, depending on what part of the country you're in, this is a very legitimate use, right? Like I was coming up to Cincinnati from the south the other day, and I stopped at 4 different truck stops at midnight and nowhere to park. I had to go on personal conveyance. But as a result, I drove an extra hour. And it occurred to me that, if you did this on a regular basis, you could recoup all that time you spent doing pre-trips and post-trips and fueling. Your on-duty time. You could recoup that by using personal conveyance, because all you got to do is say you can't find a place to park, and you get, for me, like that was an extra hour of driving for the week. Now, how much extra can you do on a daily basis? It's undefined right at the moment. There's no legal DOT regulation that I know of that defines how much personal conveyance you use. But I think you got to use judgment and reasonableness, because state trooper or DOT is going to say, okay, you use 8 hours personal conveyance on a daily basis. You can't find a place to park in that time frame. They're not going to buy that. I think what they're trying to do is come up with a rule that says no more than 2 hours of personal conveyance per day. Now, the company policy may be different, and I think they would look at the pattern of use too. They would look, you're using personal conveyance every single day. You can't tell me every single day you can't find a place to park, and you're driving an extra hour, 2 hours every single day using personal conveyance. I don't buy it. So I would say, yes, you can use personal conveyance, but I would use it sparingly, or you're going to raise some red flags. But could you calculate all the time you spent doing pre-trips, post-trips, and fueling, your on-duty time? That's probably, let's say, 2 hours for the week, for example, if you had it all up. Could you use 2 or 3 hours of personal conveyance for the week and not raise any red flags? I think you probably could get away with that if you really wanted to. It's something to think about. Again, it's like I say, in the past they used paper logs. So you're not doing anything that previous generations didn't also do. Do you think they tracked them paper logs to the exact minute? No. Did everybody know that those paper logs were meaningless? Everyone said, this is a comic book story. This is fairy tale land. So now it's electronics, and now you're supposed to be this person with the utmost character and integrity with your logs. But they're not going to raise your pay. Meanwhile, your cost of repairs and your cost of living is going through the roof. It makes you think about it. It's like, I think I might start using personal conveyance more often than I have been. If that means I can get extra, I don't know, a couple $100 a week in my pay settlement. As long as it doesn't cause issues for DOT or it doesn't cause issues for the carrier, and in most cases, it's probably legitimate use of personal conveyance, because I mean, there's times I pull into a truck stop. Is there truck parking available? Yeah, it's paid parking, and I don't want to pay. I'm already trying to stretch every dollar. Why do I want to pay for parking? I'll just go on personal conveyance, rolling on down the road. Now, there's other times I pull in a truck stop. There's parking available, but, you got to shoehorn your truck to get it. It's not worth the effort. So I just go on to the next truck stop. So there is legitimate use for personal conveyance. It just so happens that, that adds another hour, 2 hours, to your drive time that you're getting paid for. So, to wrap things up, the concept is, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough to win. It's up to you, whether or not you think that's cheating or not. I think it may fall more along the strategy. Not cheat. I wouldn't necessarily call it cheating. I call it strategy. Because what good does it do to follow the rules if that puts you out of business? It's like, if you come up with a committee of 25 people, they'll come up with all the dumbest, strangest rules that you'll ever think of, and not one of them has a CDL. And it's like, you think I'm going to follow all those rules? You're out of your freaking mind. The job would never get done if I got to follow all those rules. So that's something that you have to give some thought to. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.